Is serving Markdown pages to LLM crawlers a good idea? So this question was raised recently in the SEO industry. And as you know, on a regular basis, we get new ideas and people trying to figure out how to optimize for LLM crawlers. So let's start from the top. What is a Markdown? Right. So Markdown basically is a simple way to format text using plain symbols like hash and asterisk. It's often used for notes. It can be used for websites, README files, documentation, right? So it's basically a file with an MD extension. Like when you have a file dot a PPT for PowerPoint, you have a file dot MD for that type of content, right? And then if you want to see an example, you can go to thelinger.io. So basically this just shows you here, this is a markdown on your right, and this is here the actual interpretation of that. So if you have here one hash, it shows this text in this size. If you remove the hash, you see what happened here to the text. If you add another hash, the text becomes an H3. So it's just a way of writing, right, text and formatting text, right? So it's a lightweight markup language based on formatting conventions that people naturally use in email, right? So I really just by reading this information, I just don't see how is this useful for LLMs. Is it because it simplifies the content on the page? So what do people say? What did John Mueller say about this? So this is where the question was raised on Reddit. What is the actual risk or reward impact of serving raw markdown to LLM bots, right? So there are obviously potential negative impacts, and the poster discussed them here, like cloaking. Obviously, cloaking when you show bots a different version of the page than the one you show to the users, cache positioning, inference benefit. Like there are a few things here and there, right? What John Miller said, are you sure they can even recognize Markdown on a website as anything other than a text file? Can they parse and follow the links? What will happen to your site's internal linking, header, footer, sidebar, navigation? It's one thing to give it a MD file manually. It seems very different to serve it a text file when they're looking for a HTML page, right? So the bot actually is visiting the website expecting an HTML page, but you're giving it MD file, right? So that's definitely a concern. Later, John Miller posted on Blue Sky saying converting pages to Markdown is such a stupid idea. Did you know LLMs can read images? Why not turn your whole site into an image? So as much as I appreciate new ideas, I don't think we should do something just because we can. Obviously, I like the idea of testing things and not shutting it down. And we're going to see in a bit a test on that. And it had some results. But I mean, it's always good also to have some critical thinking when someone's suggesting a new idea. Test it, but also, have some analysis of your own. Let's go back to the article. Barry really compiled a lot of great sources. Here at the bottom, a guy says, this morning I made a small change to my site. I made every page available as Markdown for AI agents and crawlers. I expected maybe a trickle. Within an hour, I was seeing hundreds of requests from Claude bot, GPT bot, and OpenAI search bot. So let's read through that together. So basically, what he's saying, when he converted his website into Markdown format, it made his website easier for AI agents and crawlers to read. And within an hour, it was getting hundreds of requests. So basically, he used Claude to build a new feature for the site. He kept both versions because he says here, he added a small hint in the HTML to signal that the Markdown version exists. Within an hour, he had hundreds of requests from AI crawlers, including Claude bot, GPT bot, OpenAI, search bot, and more. Here's a comment I agree with. So for 2 decades, we built sites for 2 audiences, humans and search engines. AI agents are now the 3rd audience, and most websites aren't optimized for them yet. I agree that in the first part that we were focused on humans and search engines. Now we're focused on human search engine and AI agents and AI bots. I'm not going to get into the debate of whether there's something specific you need to do for AI or not. I'm not getting into that. But conceptually, if we're looking at what we were thinking about and considering in the past and what we are considering right now, Yes, we're considering more, right? What he did is every HTML page was included a link tag announcing that an alternative Markdown version exists at the MD URL. Okay. And then crawlers parse HTML, find the alternative Markdown link, and immediately switch. Based on this experiment he performed, we know that there are a lot of requests. This triggered a lot of requests. So URLs became like this, right? That made AI bots send a lot of requests to read the content in the MD files. However, we don't know why. Is it because it's newly discovered pages, right? It's new. The bot made the request knowing it's an MD file. That's true because it's following that link, but it doesn't know it's the same content it has on the page. I'd like to see an update on this after a longer amount of time and see what happened there. Because at the end of the day, the result isn't just getting a lot of requests on your website. Actually, sometimes companies complain when they get too much requests because if there's no value, it's just it's consuming your resources. So yeah, I'd like to see how this ends, but right now there is no reason to do that. Maybe it's better to invest more into making sure your website is optimized, up to speed in a technical way. Obviously, JavaScript is an issue for AI bots. So, focus on what we know that works for sure. Yes, this is worth testing, and I'd like to see a follow-up, but I don't see right now that we need to generate MD files of all the pages on our websites. Hope you find this useful. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and see you next video.